Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Strange Magic. This is a 2015 film, fully digitally 3D animated, an hour and 42 minutes. It's from Lucasfilm. Yeah, okay. For somebody who's a Star Wars fan, Indiana Jones fan, everything else that Lucasfilm has done over the years, I completely forgot about this film. And I think a lot of other people have as well. It came out in January. Technically the dead zone of film release periods, if there is one throughout the year. January, usually September, those are, if a movie's dumped in that slot, it means, well, we got to release it. We just put it in there where it won't die an even worse death against blockbusters at other points of the year. There, it has very little competition. It might get seen. I remember ads for this. There's a trailer. Yeah, there's a trailer right there for it. Yeah, I don't remember it. And again, it's Lucasfilm, but it has nothing to do with the Lucasfilm stuff you've seen before. Yes, there are references. Of course, there's references. The king of the fairies, elves, goblins, fairies. Yeah, there's fairies. Our main characters, our main female leads, are two princesses. Primarily, what am I saying? Marianne. Marianne is our main character that we follow. She's a little sister named Dawn, and so Evan Rachel Wood plays Marianne, and where is Dawn? Dawn is played by Meredith Ann Bell. The two of them, princesses. Meredith is due to be married. Going back to the reference thing, she has a father, and the father is voiced by Alfred Molina, Dr. Octopus from the Spider-Man movies. For those of you, the nerdy, I'm going to make nerdy references. Yes, Alfred Molina has done a lot of other work. Absolutely wonderful work in so many different genres of film and stage and everything else. But he's Dr. Octopus. And I'm going to ruin it. I'm going to keep doing that with the other people that I'm going to mention in this. The father is modeled after George Lucas. You can see it. He looks like George Lucas. Yeah, just saying. And also, Marianne is quite good with a sword, and you see her practicing with a sword and all sorts of different mannerisms that would remind you of somebody who would be very adept at handling a lightsaber. But yeah, it's not an overt reference, but there's very little swordplay in this. Sure, there is toward the end, but the fact that she is pre-Rey, technically, because this came out before The Force Awakens, but to set this up, there's Land of Fairies, and then there's like dark elves, and there's goblins as well, and there's all sorts of other just mythical creatures all sort of mixed into this community, but they're separated between two worlds, one of which is, the fairies with all the just color and joy and sweetness, everything else, and there's the dark woods kind of with the other elves and stuff, which is run by the Bog King, voiced by Alan Cumming. Nerds will know him as Nightcrawler from the second X-Men film. But he has done, again, tons of stage and movies and TV and everything else over the years. So, yeah. By the way, there's a number of people, pretty much everybody has been cast for their ability to sing, because this is a musical. But it is not technically a normal, like Disney-like musical. None of the songs, as far as I could tell, are original. They're all literally pulled from the last 50, maybe 60 years of pop music. No, even longer. Because the very first song we hear is Marianne singing Fools Rush In. Unchained Melody. So singing... yeah, I don't want to get this thing. But so yeah, you get to hear her singing a song that was predominantly made famous by Elvis. And they go through the gamut of pop music. I feel a little bit of Beyonce in there, even when there's not even a song being sung. Like there's a march that's happening. They're marching to this tune of Lady Gaga's Poker Face. Yeah. And so there's country music, there is classics going back to ELO. In fact, Strange Magic. It goes all over the place, and it's almost becomes egregious to the point where rather than just sort of communicating with the story, they just sort of pull you out of whatever's in there and go, oh, I remember that song. Oh, that sounds familiar. Oh, that's who did that song. Like it to me, it pulled me out of the story repeatedly. And yes, while the story isn't overly original, let's just say, it does have a somewhat unexpected ending. I'm not going to spoil that for you at all, but the direction it goes an unlikely path. Like it normally, it's a romance. It's a number of, there's a love potion involved, love potion that can pretty much make you fall in love with the first person that you see after drinking or inhaling the potion. And that kind of wreaks havoc on everything. That's later in the film, but that's not the main, that is sort of the main part of it. But starting off things, I'm going to just basically give you this little tidbit as to the hook in this. We get Marianne, she's headstrong, she's Evan Rachel Wood. Did I say that already? Evan Rachel Wood is the main character in this Marianne, and she is all ready to be married to a man who is very much into himself. His name is Roland, and he is voiced by Sam Palladio. I think it says he's British, but he's affecting a southern, like, country music accent. It's an easier accent for British people to do when they try to do American. So, yeah. Maya Rudolph's in this as well, as the Bog King's mom, Griselle, and Kristen Chenoweth. You know her from Wicked and Pushing Daisies and so many other things. She's in everything. She's a Sugar Plum Fairy. You'll recognize that voice immediately. She also sings the song, I can't remember which one it was, but sings a song over the closing credits at the end, the main song at the end. Be aware, speaking of the end credits, there is a mid-credit sequence and an end credit sequence. The mid-credit sequence is relevant to the story because you kind of wondering what happened to a certain character. Well, you get to find out. At the very end, it's just silliness, just to be silly. But there's actually middle and end credit sequences to this film in the Marvel way than a Lucasfilm way. So yeah. Don't expect Star Wars. Don't expect a traditional, format. But hey, you got it's a big fantasy. It's really well animated. I think at first it was a little off-putting because where the human faces, the elf faces, are realistic, and same with the goblin face, especially the main goblin. His name is come on, show me your name. Show me your name. Why can't I see your name? Okay, well, whatever. I don't know why I can't find his name. Sonny, played by Elijah Kelly. His face looks very human, and with realistic eyes and everything else, but then with the exaggerated features, you're just like, why didn't they just do this practical instead of animated? But, it's the thing, digital animated films, and, it's Lucasfilm. They were going to use ILM, they were going to use digital effects and everything else, so why not make everything digital? I have a feeling that a number of things might have been mocap, but for the most part, for faces. So it seemed very realistic, and then the fantasy just sort of warps the faces to look with bigger eyes and the pointy ears and everything else. It was just a little unsettling in the look, I guess. Yeah. Okay, I forgot to say what the hook is. Marianne's all ready to be married to super studly guy that she seems to get along pretty well with. They banter back and forth. They seem pretty much in love. They both have fantastic hair, and of course he is very much in love with his hair more than anything else. But she catches him cheating, kissing another fairy, which we don't see for the rest of the film. But he's cheating on her, so it's very mature subject matter from the start. It's not just like, "Hi, I'm going to try to be evil now." But he does have. He seems like he's clearly stated that the reason why he's trying to marry her anyway, even though he's having dalliances here and there, is to gain power. He wants to have an army. He just feels like he needs to rule the kingdom through marrying the king's daughter. He's not picky either. So, but yeah, time passes, and Marianne, as a result, is like swears off of love. She starts wearing the darker eyeliner and dressing a little bit more rougher, and she's a loner now. So she is sworn off of love. But things come to light where this love potion is discovered, or the ability to make a love potion, which has been forbidden for a long time for various reasons, which we'll learn throughout the film. Kind of brings everyone into conflict between the fairies and the elves, especially the Bog King. So yeah, so the story seems to just become, while important, and the romance is important, or the various romances and the various fake romances, because of somebody taking the love potion in a way they shouldn't have, or it's forced upon them, and they're in love with somebody they don't want to be in love with. These kind of things happen. So it's an entertaining story, and if you can get out of my tendency is to go try to mentally check every reference. And when you got a movie with songs that I already know, even if they are literally just crammed in there for no reason, yes, they're relevant to the scene in that moment, it takes me out of listening to what the characters are saying and doing and caring. I want to go, oh, okay, that's ELO. Which album was that on? Oh, and was that Shania Twain? Wait, Black Eyed Peas? Like, it's everywhere. It's all over the place. If it stuck to like classic rock, which at one point there is a guitar sound that sounds a lot like Barracuda from Heart. So I'm like, oh, like when an action sequence is building up, but they don't launch into Barracuda. So somebody just went through a catalog of music and just went, what would sound great here? What would sound pretty cool here? And it does. And so if you're going for the musical cues, cool. That you can appreciate it for that. If you're going for the fairy romance adventure, female-led adventure, that's cool too. And you know what? Maybe actually this does work as a tool for kids who might be really interested in this kind of thing and really like find the characters fun and funny as well. There's lots of humor in this, and love the adventure, love the look of the animation and everything else, and introduce them to music that they might not have heard otherwise. Music that is probably 50 years older than many of them. So 40, 50. It like I said, it runs all over the place. So you never know what you're going to get next, what genre or what era of music. Queen throws in there a little bit in there. So yeah, I honestly can't. You'd have to look at the soundtrack to see. I don't know if I imagine they did full covers of each of these things. I'm going to look it up soon after I get done with this. I'm sure there's a whole cover album full of just all these songs sung by the actors in this film. So it's kind of neat. Necessary? Don't know. And you know what? Maya Rudolph, she sings. I don't remember her doing a song in this. Maybe I blacked out. I have no idea. So, but Maya Rudolph, she sings in pretty much a lot of her things she appears in. This one, I don't think she does, which is very strange. I don't know. But the story, it has a lesson or whatever. it's trying not to judge people by their looks and blah, 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 and, you know, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, there's a lesson to be learned that kids might take good, you know, without spoiling anything here, there's lessons. So there's a redeeming factor, even if you hate the fact that somebody has covered ELO or just anything. So just to create a interesting title for their movie. So yeah, I liked it. I can't say that I loved it, but your results may vary. So check it out if you get a chance. If you've seen all the other fairy and princess, you're all done with all the Tinkerbell stuff. This one, again, a little bit more mature than a Tinkerbell thing. It's not a Disney Junior thing or anything else, but it definitely has somewhat of that vibe. I think they were hoping there were going to be a franchise out of this. Not so much. But yeah, by the way, the look of the animation, the depth of the animation, the way they present things, it looks fantastic for 2015. It's yeah, I know that sounds like it's only 8 years ago, almost 9. It's but it's pretty good. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
147.
147. 147. I could go with a short, maybe, please. Oh my gosh, I got one. Hey, good, lucky me. I've seen so many movies, so many things that are like an hour and a half, 2 hours long. I need a break. I need to slow down, a day off. We're almost at the end of the year. So let's take a look at this. It is Grand Canyon Scope. Now, these things that are listed as shorts, the yellow ones, aren't always short. So I don't know what to expect from this. It makes me think it's an old classic Mickey kind of cartoon, but I could be wrong. Grand Canyon Scope is what we're watching next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.